This is Unit 71, number 32, and this is a very good question because you have one very similar to it on your final exam. So you're told that all dimensions are in inches, and we are interested in determining how long dimension C is and how long dimension D is. So I'll start with dimension C. I see that dimension C is the hypotenuse of this right triangle right here, okay? And so I know an angle within that right triangle, and I want to find the hypotenuse. Now I can also determine the length of this side of my right triangle because it's going to be equal to the 12.75 measurement minus the 8.08 measurement given in the diagram. So it's going to be equivalent to 4.67 inches. So what I basically now have then is a right triangle. I know the length of one side. I know the length of one side, and I also know an angle measure, so I can use Chief SOHCAHTOA to help me determine the length of the side C. So the angle that's 32 degrees 30 minutes is my angle theta. The 4.67 is my adjacent side, and then C will be my hypotenuse. So that's our cosine. Cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So 32 degrees 30 minutes is, if I change that to decimal degrees by dividing the minutes by 60, I have cosine of 32.5 degrees is equal to adjacent 4.67 over hypotenuse, C. Now I want to solve for C, and it's in the denominator, so what I'm going to need to do is multiply both sides by C to get it out of the denominator. And then I can see that to get C alone, I'll just need to divide both sides of my equal sign by the cosine of 32.5 degrees. That gets my C alone. So I find that the length of C is equal to 5.537 inches. In part B, we want to determine dimension D. Well, now that I have the hypotenuse of that right triangle, I can use trigonometry again to find the length of that green piece, or I can just use the Pythagorean theorem. I'll use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared has to equal my hypotenuse squared, which I just found was 5.537. So I'll have to take 5.537, square it, subtract 4.67 squared, and I get about 8.85. That's what A squared equals, so A will be equal to the square root of that, and that gives me an answer equal to 2.975. Now that I know A, I can find D because A and D together form the vertical piece of this figure. The total length of that vertical piece is 6.05 inches. And I now know that the one part of that whole distance is equal to 2.975. So I can just subtract the 2.975 from the total distance to determine the length of D. And I find that D must be equal to 3.075 inches. I now see that I made an arithmetic error on my answer key, so caught it here in the video though. If you need any other videos, don't hesitate to message me.